all of the aldermen are present. Alderman Campbell is present by phone. I appreciate all of you being here tonight. At this time, I would like to recognize Pastor Brooks, who will lead us in prayer, and then Alderman Powell, who will lead us in the pledge of allegiance. So please stand.
Let's all bow, please. Gracious Heavenly Father, truly we thank you again for this blessed day. We thank you for this opportunity to be able to come together again in this meeting and these proceedings. We always ask blessing upon this mayor, this board of aldermen, and all those that are here in this meeting tonight, and this entire city, that it will be a city being a beacon of light that is friendly, lovable, and prosperous. And we just thank you, Lord Jesus, for all your many blessings. And we ask it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Attention, salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Brother. Pastor Brooks, it's always a good way to start. I appreciate it. Amen. All right, we'll go to item 4, approval of the consent agenda, and hopefully all of you have received the proposed minutes from our special call meeting of February 20th. The approval of those minutes will be 4G under the consent agenda items. So with that said, absent questions, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Make a motion, sir.
Mr. Powell made the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Taylor seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
No. Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Item 5A and 5B are FYI matters. Are there any questions about our budget reports or bank reconciliations? I just went through our bank reconciliations and we've received, I think, $1.3 million of our ad valorem tax payments already this year. So that all looks good. And you notice from our sales tax reports, we're doing good. We're really outperforming our historical performance, and we look like we're outperforming other cities in the county. So that's good news, guys. All right, item number 6A. Request for adoption of an order setting the regular monthly meetings of the Mayor's Health Council.
Yes, sir. So I have met with Dr. Span and our program director for the grant, and also the inaugural meeting with the Health Council, and we decided that the first Thursday of the month will be best, starting in April, is when the first meeting will be going forward.
Okay, so there's a resolution then setting the regular meeting of the Gluckstadt Mayoral Health Council for the first Thursday of every month at 5:30.
Yes, sir.
All right, so is there a motion to approve that resolution?
Motion.
Ms. Bates made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Powell seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
All right, item 6B is the Westlake Chemical ad valorem tax exemption that was, the materials were provided to you earlier today. Hopefully you've all had the opportunity to review this application.
Yes, sir. So they're asking for a 10-year exemption on what appears to be an industrial exemption, not Freeport. And if legal wants to jump in, I think they've reviewed it as well.
Yeah, so this one is one for, looks like they're expanding their current business, and so this is the one that you can approve for up to 10 years. Looks like the request is for 10 years, but you can approve it for any increment. You just can't exceed the 10 years, so you can approve it for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, or 1 year now, maybe reapply next year and another year. But it can only be for a 10-year period total, even if you just do it for a year at a time.
So is the original first location currently exempt?
that. I don't
We'd have to- I think that there was a so they were grandfathered in like many of these industries, but they have different dates as to when they fall off. But the industrial side was grandfathered.
So at least we're 5 years in.
I would have to look and I can try to confirm that before the end of the meeting for you.
Yeah, I mean, if we can find, because
This is an addition to the property.
they want another 10 years on the
On the-
addition.
Yeah,
But
and
we
I'll
don't know
try.
how many years we have on the original that was grandfathered in from the county exemption, correct?
Yes, and I can try to find, we have a spreadsheet with all of those, deadlines that they fall off. So I'll try to find that before the end of the meeting for you.
You wanna look that up and we'll table it?
Sure.
Table it just for the moment till you find that so you can answer it.
Can I ask a question real quick?
Yes, please, sir.
What other industries, industrial places over there are exempt from ad valorem? I mean, I know we've had the discussion about Freeport, but this is something totally different. So do you have any idea on that?
I don't know off the top of my head. I need to do some research.
You know, I know when, Mr. Deason came and we spoke, and one of the questions I had for him was comparing to what other businesses do in the city of Gluckstadt with the Freeport was that they're all paying ad valorem just like every other business does. And we're exempting the Freeport part of it. So I would, I'd almost would like to talk back to Mr. Deason again and table this into the next, meeting and see if we can find out the information that Alderman Williams would like to know, and then find out if, who else is exempt from ad valorem, if anybody.
That would be a problem to move it to April. I think they asked for it to come in early, or Mr. Deason had encouraged them to get it in a little earlier this year. But as far as our timeline's concerned.
I see a lot of heads nodding up here to table this to the next meeting. Is there any objection to doing that?
Not me.
I think that sounds good.
All right. Well, then table that request until next meeting.
I'll try to send out an email with the updated.
And I will reach out to Mr. Deason as well. At the next meeting, I'll relay our conversation.
All right, item 7, Ms. Kellum.
Make my way to the podium. So for my general administration update, I'm just going to touch on a few things. We have started our health council initiatives. We've had our first meeting with the health council. So we're going to be bringing forward a few things each month for y'all's approval, starting in April. And we are looking at May to hold our health fair in conjunction with the 5K that's already going on. And I've already had approval from Reshma. She thinks it's a great idea to add it to that event. And then we're also looking at holding a town hall in June. And so the way that the grant works, a lot of times there's certain initiatives you have to hit each, month. And so that's, the reason that we're doing those in those months is due to the breakdown or deliverables of the initiatives. We are going to close out 2 grants this week for Homeland on the trailer and radios for PD and the cyber grant. So that should be updated on your next grant spreadsheet. We have finished our PERS audit. I'm just waiting to get the results of our PERS audit. They're auditing a lot of folks ahead of the new tier, which came in last week or so, or on the 1st. I've been able to enter all of the payroll updates for PD, the pay raises, and our new officer. So that's been taken care of ahead of payroll tomorrow. And the last thing I want to touch on that may be of interest to you guys is legislation. It has been a wild session thus far, but I did want you to write down a few bills that are still alive that we need to keep our eyes on. The first bill is going to be House Bill 898. This is to create a sales tax diversion study committee with the Mississippi Department of Revenue. So essentially, they're going to create a committee to oversee their administrative processes, the formulas, make sure that they're calculating everything properly. As you know, we've had a lot of issues trying to get answers from MDOR when it comes to our sales tax, going up and down. It's always, this confidential tax information. So this will really help. This is something that the Clerks Association and MML have really pushed for this year. So I think, speaking for a lot of other clerks, that they've had the same issues that we have.
House Bill 1171 is going to extend grant oversight. So it's basically kind of the same thing that we're doing already for many of the grants, but it'll be required at the state level for all state agencies. So that'll increase grant oversight. House Bill 1386 is use tax. So one of the things that Chris may be happy about is they're adding sidewalks as a reason that we can use modernization and use tax money. There's also Senate Bill 2432. This one is kind of controversial because of it's involving state inmate housing. The cities are currently paying a good amount of money, but it's capped. This bill would essentially allow the county to enter an MOU agreement with the cities for, an X amount of dollars that they agree upon. So we could see some increases there from prisoners that we're sending from the city to the county. Lastly, I wanted to mention Senate Bill 2840. This is a bill that they were looking at getting rid of privilege license, eliminating privilege license taxes. City of Blackstock currently takes in about $50,000 in business licenses. This is also a way for us to regulate the businesses kind of coming in and out, knowing who's coming in and out, and then sharing that information with MDOR, which affects our sales tax. So that's something that's important to keep an eye on. That's all I have for my update.
Okay, Ms. Kellum, that obviously would cover item 7A. Does that also cover 7C, your grant report, or you want to get in more detail in that?
I'll be very brief on my grant report.
Okay, and let me just ask if anybody's got any questions of Ms. Kellum about the general administration updates.
No questions.
Okay. So let's go ahead while you're there and just do item 7C, then your grant report.
Yes. So, really, the only thing that I wanted to bring attention to is items 10 through 12 on your grant report. If you'll just look at the status of them, they've been updated. I filed for reimbursement for also one of the other ones I wanted to mention was the Patrick Leahy Bulletproof Vest Partnership. We did seek reimbursement that I filed today. That has not been updated on the status report yet. We did also receive a notice to proceed on the MOST grant. So we'll be coming to you in April to talk about budget amendments and the necessary steps to open a bank account for it. But other than that, if you'll just check the statuses on 10 through 12, that's really the only thing that I've got updated on there.
All right, any questions of Ms. Kellum about her grant report? Great job. I'm so happy now the information that you're giving us and this is so much easier for me personally to follow, and I think it's also demonstrates the productivity of you guys doing the grant. So thank you both for doing that. Okay, Scott, 7B, anything to add to your privilege license report? Any questions of Mr. Mall about his privilege license? All right, let's go then to item 7D. You want approval for the Mayor's Health Council to hold a town hall and a community health fair.
Yes, so the community health fair is set for May 2nd. I just wanted approval from the board to go ahead and start planning for that date. The town hall is going to be determined at our next meeting. So I'll be updating y'all in April with the date for the June town hall meeting. And with the town hall, something to note is, I know it's Health Council sponsored, but really that's only a portion of it. It'll be very similar to what we did last year.
All right, so you're asking the board to approve the community health fair on Saturday, May 2nd, and the town hall in June on a date to be determined.
Yes, and I'll bring the date to y'all hopefully in April.
There, a motion then to approve that request.
Motion.
All right, Mr. Taylor Ms. Taylor makes the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Bates seconded. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, thank you. Item 7E, request to apply for the recreational trails grant.
Yes, so the next three items, essentially, I'm just seeking approval to apply for these varying grants. Chris can probably speak of, to these, the next two at least, as far as what we were trying to seek from that.
For the recreational trails program, we're gonna look for this to kind of go alongside, the park. The mulch trail that was in the back was not included in the most, grant, so we're gonna look to get a little help with that. And the Land and Water Conservation Fund, we don't know if we can use that, but we would like to go ahead and get approval in case we find something or something comes up. This allows us to, there's two types of project you can do, combination, acquisition of property and recreational development of that same property, or just development of recreational development on an existing public property. So we don't, like I said, we don't have anything right now. Something might come up in the meantime, or we might, try to see if there's something we could add to the park that we might be able to use this money for. It's up to $250,000, so we're just gonna take a few shots and see what we can go after.
Okay, and as with all the grants, if we get one, you bring that back to the board and the board can determine whether we want to accept it, particularly if we're spending matching money.
Correct.
So this is just to ask permission to apply for these grants, recreational trails grant, land and water conservation fund grant, and the COPS grant.
So the COPS grant is going to be law enforcement related. It can help pay for an officer. I'm sure you've heard where we can start them off, the grant will pay for them in full, and then they taper off every year by 25% or so. And then we'll fully absorb that position at some point. There's also an equipment and vehicle component to that. So this is just, we have not met with the chief. He's out of town this week, but I anticipate sitting down with him and deciding if we're going to apply for it or not. We're just making sure that we get the approval before April, if he does want to do that.
All right, any questions of Ms. Kellum or Mr. Buckner about items 7E, F, and G, any of those grants? Is there a motion then to authorize them, give them permission to apply for each of these three grants?
Make the motion.
All right, Mr. Powell made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Williams seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? I heard one aye.
Aye.
Everybody in favor?
I speak for it.
Everybody?
Yes.
All right, you speak for everybody.
Thank you.
All right, item 7H.
Yeah, so this is an item that Chastity Pickett, my deputy clerk, has done a fabulous job in undertaking some research and polling of various municipalities, the state. She's been working on this the last couple of months. If you remember back in January, I told you that I would be looking at PTO. One of the issues that we have noticed on our exit interviews, particularly with law enforcement, is they mentioned that we're not in line with the paid time off compared to other jurisdictions such as Madison, Bridgeland, and maybe even the state, because I do believe some of their officers came from the state. So this is why we took up this project to kind of, look at, are we in line? Could we do better, especially with the new tier coming in on March 1st? I know there's still some legislation out there that I believe is passed to change the time frame for retirement from 35 to 25. That's still just a baby step to kind of fix or overhaul this new tier. So Chastity put together a lot of information for you guys, and I hope you've had a lot of time to read it. We did look at Ridgeland and Byron this morning, and we circulated some emails on that. But it's right now the city starts off at 10 PTO days a year. What I'm proposing is that we maybe look at increasing it to 12 after a year of service for full-time employees. So not starting off out of the gate at 12, but maybe doing a tiered option where, at year 1, it's at 12, year 3, maybe 15, and then year 5, 18, kind of to get in line with what the state does. So there's certainly multiple options. I just kind of wanted to take y'all's temperature as to what your thoughts are.
All right, open it for discussion. Anybody have questions or comments?
Are we talking about paternity leave or are we talking about?
This is just PTO. Yeah, so the paternity, ma'am.
About the paternity leave?
So that's the next line,
That's
or
the
next
next
item.
Okay, gotcha.
Yes, and that's the paid parental leave.
We're
act.
talking about vacation.
Yeah, we're just
Paid
talking,
vacation.
strictly talking about vacation and sick right now.
So
and comp.
day one, automatically 10 days,
Yes.
2 weeks.
That's correct.
And we're not competitive, or we're out of line with other cities.
Looking at
municipalities?
our research, so if you look at the back page, or Scott, can you go to Chastity's very last page?
That is not the norm for day one, to automatically be 2 weeks.
We
In the
don't,
private sector.
we don't. So it's 10 days for the year, but you accrue, you don't instantly get 10 days right when you
Oh, okay,
start.
so you are accruing.
So you're at 0, and then you get every pay period, I think personal is 3.6 months.
Bi-weekly?
So by the end of the,
Yeah,
so by the end of the year, it would be
you'll have
10
10,
days.
yeah, thank you for clarifying.
In the city of Ridgeland, they do lump sum, like where you get all your time at one time, but you don't get it until your first year anniversary. So they give you all your days at one time in Ridgeland.
So you don't get any vacation the
From
first
zero-
year?
from first day to,
No, they
No.
give it to you on your 1 year anniversary. They give you all your time for that year at that one time.
Okay, so
And
the
we
first
do-
year you're accruing, but you accrue it where you could use it the next year.
Yes.
And we do have a 6-month probationary period built in right now into our handbook, where they can accrue it as soon as they start, but they can't use it for 6 months to take a vacation. They can use sick immediately.
And we're on a calendar year, right, and not fiscal year as far as time.
Yes, ma'am,
Okay.
that's correct.
Is it a use it or lose it type thing, or?
So the way that PTO works in the public sector is we have a cap in our handbook of 240 hours. So say I accrued 240 and then I left and went and took another job, I could request, as long as I resigned and was not terminated, I could request that that's paid out. So that's the liability for the city, is that 240 that is paid out. If I accrued more than that over a period of 5 years that I didn't burn, that would be transferred over to PERS. So it could go towards my retirement or other employees' retirement.
Not an extra paycheck.
No,
Okay.
So we have a built-in, that 240 cap is essentially to protect the city from having to pay out a lot at once if somebody were to leave.
so 6 weeks.
240 hours.
240 hours. And so anything over that 240, and employees get the choice upon exit, as long as they weren't terminated, they can decide whether to roll that into PERS or to get that paid out on their last paycheck. Sick is automatically rolled to PERS.
What about comp time?
So comp time, we also have a policy that says that, and it's only for basically our department heads who they're not allowed to get overtime. They can accrue up to 50 hours a year, calendar year. They have to use it or they lose it. So they don't get it paid out, if they were to leave, with comp time still accrued.
Yeah, and the problem that I have with the comp time issue is that it's capped at what, 50 hours?
50 hours.
So we have, Ms. Kellum primarily, but we have a lot of people, who put in a lot of time, comp time working for the city. Stephanie, comes in to do court on the weekends and they eat their 50 hours and they come in and they don't get compensated at all for those hours. And I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's right. I think that we ought to raise that comp time cap to 75 hours to make sure that those people are getting compensated at least in some fashion for extra work. I mean, Chief Hale and others in the police department have had to do that same thing for labor shortages and things. I personally don't think it's right that they have to come in sometimes on the weekends and holidays and don't get compensated for it because they've exceeded the cap. The vacation time, if you look at this spreadsheet, I think we are competitive. But I don't have a problem personally with us increasing it if that's what the board wishes to do. I have no objection to it by any means. I do want us to be competitive and I do want us to be able to get good people to work for the city.
Well,
those
this
are just my
came
2
out of
cents.
2 issues, and that's mainly the exit interviews, where we were seeing in those interviews that they were citing, comp time or PTO time as an issue in comparison to where they've been previously. I came from the state, it was a lot more flexible at the state, but I'm also not law enforcement,
But now the recommendation that's being made here is to go from 10 days to 12 days. And I mean, is that gonna make a difference? I mean, does that make the difference that somebody decide they wanna leave the Gluckstadt Police Department to go back to Madison?
According to some exit interviews, yes.
12 days would make.
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't buy
Well,
it. 2
and then
days.
also with, I think the timing of this is really due to the new tier coming in. Other cities, I'll tell you, I've had this conversation actually at my last luncheon meeting with all of my city clerks. They're all looking at revising this due to the new tier because they want to stay competitive. They want retention, especially in law enforcement. And so this is just another way that we can help our employees out. It's kind of how they see it, and I see it as well.
So going back to law enforcement, so say we need more people on the street, boots on the ground in December, if they accrue comp time, the certain ones are putting in the extra hours at December 31, if they don't take it by then, they lose it, right?
Correct. Yes.
So
it only actually applies to the assistant chief and to the chief in that manner. The rest are going to be on overtime.
It also applies to lieutenants.
Yeah, and lieutenants, yeah. Kind of your hired admin personnel that are not able to accrue OT.
can we look at that, just like how many hours y'all lost? Chief Slater.
I can't figure out off my head.
Yeah, no, just later, it's just for discussion, if you could circulate that, I'm just curious to see, if we're gonna look at it, we might need to.
Yeah, and I send a reminder out in November and say, hey, if you haven't taken a vacation, you may want to use your comp time.
Yeah.
They're encouraged to use comp time ahead of sick time, vacation, and that's usually the first thing that they're putting on their time sheets. So, I do send reminders. I don't know if,
In terms of that 50-hour cap, y'all are blowing through that 50-hour cap?
I don't think the issue is primarily the cap. I think it's the expiration date being December 31st, because December is an extremely busy month for us. And then if we can't find a way to burn that time by the 31st, by policy, we would lose it come January 1. I think that's a bigger issue to us than trying to manage the 50 hours.
Can we move it from calendar to fiscal year? I mean, that would help solve some of the issues, PD, Public Works. If you did fiscal year expiration date, and that would at least give 3 months, whatever they accrue in December or whatever days, that they accrue, they'll have more time to do it instead of calendar. I know calendar is easier, and I know this year if we decide to do that, it's going to be
yeah, I mean, this year will be a little bit hectic, but it'll, streamline itself next year. So.
I do have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
In each department, is there like a vacation calendar where you can't have certain people off at the same time? Or is it just kind of if everybody can get what they want type thing?
That's up to each department head. They control how they take vacation, and I'm sure that they try to keep manpower staffing up to competent levels. Mr. Buckman, if you want to.
Pretty much first come, first serve with public works. We're not gonna let everybody be out on a day, but it depends on the time of the year.
Can you hear Ms. Campbell?
Yes, he said it just depends on the time of the year.
Yes, he said first come, first serve, and he tries to make sure that not everybody's off at the same time. I'm assuming PD is the same thing.
Clerk's office.
So they handle that in their relative departments.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments?
well, that's on PTO. Now going back to comp time. I mean, we already discussed comp time. Going back to PTO, 10 days you accrue the first year, and they cannot take any PTO the first year.
First 6
But
months.
6 months. And then after 6 months, they can take the first 6 months accrued time. And so we're not competitive with the 10, and then you're saying that we need to add 2 days to that a day for 6 months, first 6 months, and a day for second 6 months, we'll be more competitive. For the
I
first
think
year.
if we did a tiered option upon anniversaries, we would be more in line with the state and some other agencies or municipalities that are doing the same thing.
So after 5 years, we gain 1 day a year. And that for
It's
us.
up to what y'all decide.
I mean, but that is current policy right now, is after 5 years, every year you get one more day.
Where is it being done like that? What other cities is it being done like that one day a year?
Chastity.
What I found when I was researching was we are competitive, if you want to say it that way, but our accrual rate is slower, if that makes sense. Like the city of Jackson, you're getting you're getting more time every year. I think Canton, you're getting at 3 years. Like we're pushed back to 5. Most cities aren't pushed back for a 5-year before increase. I think that's the issue. And like with the state, that's their magic number. You come in at 12 personal and 8 medical. That's what they start you out with monthly. But they are only paid monthly in most instances.
And something to note on the state is their medical actually goes down in increments. So like you may start at 12 and 8, but then you go to, was it 15 and 5 or something?
Mm-hmm.
So your medical goes down, but your vacation increases.
And I spoke with the city of Byram today. They are about where we are today, but over the next few board meetings, it will be increased to mirror what the state offers. But the city of Byram also pays all insurance, health, dental, vision, and life for their employees. And that's another thing with a lot of cities, that they pay more in insurance, so that kind of offsets like that a little bit more as well.
And so do they do like you said earlier, like at the start of the new year, they give you the 80 hours? And
No, that's only Ridgeland. Ridgeland was the only city that I spoke with that gives you their time in lump sum. That was the only time that I've heard. Most accruals are via pay period. Like whenever pay period you're on, you get so many hours that pay period.
they're just accruing faster.
Yes, they're accruing fast.
Got it. All right, I'm looking at Ms. Kellen's memo, and the last page of her memo, she's got some recommendations, itemized 1 through 4. The first one is increased vacation accrual from 3.077 to a higher rate, and she gives some options there. Or tiered accruals based on tenure in 3, 5, 8, 10-year marks. And then you see her other recommendations there, 2, 3, and 4.
So I really just wanted to give y'all kind of an idea of differing options that we could look at. So really it's up to the board as to what policy you want to set, if any.
What can we roll over every year for PTO? Or what's allowed?
For vacation, it rolls over automatically.
So if you don't take any days, you're automatically 2 weeks roll over?
Yeah, so, there's a lot of employees that like to save all of their vacation. I mean, and like if Scott is one of them. But, you used to see it at the state a lot. You'd have somebody that would have 5 years of vacation and they could put that towards their retirement and shorten the time that they would have, to wait to retire. So that's something to consider as well, is that, they like to save it for perks.
So compensating for someone that, for instance, 240 hours, is that a financial compensation from the city?
Yes, if they choose that. So the cap, basically, the 240, they have the choice to get that paid out or it rolls over into their perks.
In perks.
So could we do this for the next meeting? Could you recirculate the employee handbook so that we can just get familiar with what we currently have and compare it? Because, yeah, that'd help me out a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you not have what we currently have?
She does, but just visual.
Yeah, I think, so y'all don't want to do it, y'all basically want to revise the handbook and not do a standalone policy.
Oh, you're trying to do a standalone. I thought.
No, it's up to the board's pleasure as far as, I thought about just revising the handbook, the leave approvals in the handbook. And we do have a standalone policy for comp though that would need to be revised as well.
Do we have a digital handbook? I don't think we ever sent those.
Yes, we did.
Please.
Chastity,
It's on the website.
Got it. Recirculate employee handbook. I got
Oh,
it.
is it? Okay.
And I gave you one. And you signed a form to acknowledge you got one.
All right.
All right, so I think that what we need to have on our radar then for the next meeting is whether we want to adopt determine whether we want to adopt them, what accrual rate we're gonna adopt, those things. I mean, I would focus on 1 through 4 here. That's what Ms. Cullen is recommending that we do. So
And going
And also the
from
comp time policy.
annual to fiscal.
that's right.
year.
It's going from an annual, going from a calendar year to a fiscal year.
On the comp.
Calendar and a comp time.
So those are the 3 considerations for April.
All right, any further discussion on item 7H? All right, let's go to 7I. Parental, paid parental policy.
Yes, so this also, the timing of this was brought up because of the tier 5 rolling in on 3/1. In January, this paid parental leave act from the state was put into place and effective. This is for only state employees. It does not carry over to counties and municipalities. This is something that I wanted you guys to look at and for it to be on your radar for another option to make us competitive. We would be one of the first cities to adopt something like this and get in line with the state. Something to keep in mind is you don't have to do a 6-week paid off in addition to the 6-week FMLA. It all runs concurrently, so it would be 12 weeks, but you could do an additional 2 weeks or 3 weeks, whatever the board, if they see fit to add some additional, paid parental time off. I'm recommending for up to 6 weeks, so y'all can certainly set that as you please. The state basically has this really well regulated, and I think I circulated also the New Orleans school district policy that Todd Butler sent me to you guys, and they have it really well defined in there. So it'd only be for full-time employees that have been here a year plus. It could be for men or women with new children at home, and even for adoption purposes. So I guess I'll just open the floor up for questions.
So right now, if one of our employees has a baby,
They can take FMLA leave for 6 weeks.
they can take their FMLA leave, but that doesn't pay them.
No, they would take their leave concurrently with it, so they could still get paid for that 6 weeks, but they would have to take no, I'm sorry, I'm getting confused. The FMLA is unpaid, that's right, so they wouldn't be forced to
They
pay.
would have to take their vacation in order to be paid.
Yes.
So what we're talking about here is giving a new mother 6 weeks of paid time off after the birth of the child.
In addition, yes.
Okay, and that's what the state's done.
Yes, so they passed a bill last year, which came into effect for January 1.
But currently, there's not a lot of, like, I know in the private sector, like, you do not get paid for maternity leave. But we do have short-term disability, right?
We do have Aflac that offers that, yes.
But in the private sector, a lot of people have a lot more paid time off than what our employees currently have.
I think the climate is moving more towards this. That's why the state adopted it, and so I kind of wanted to just see if that's something that you guys would be interested in and kind of setting the precedent for other cities. I know Ridgeland's very interested in doing this for their employees. I talked to Angela about it. So there's a number of cities that I think would follow suit. It may be good practice, and I think it's also minimal as far as the financial effects to a new mother. Or to the city for a new mother to be able to spend more time bonding with their child or a new father.
Mississippi is a right to life state, and we talk about that a lot, but do we really mean it? And, this is gonna have such a minimal impact on the financial situation for the city that I think we ought to adopt something. I would say we should not adopt 6 weeks. I know the private sector doesn't get it, but we don't get to make decisions for the private sector, all of us up here, but we do get to make decisions for the city. And I think it would send the right message.
But that's 6 weeks on top of the 6 weeks FMLA, correct?
Yes.
So 12 weeks total, 3 months?
12 weeks total of paid.
6 weeks, 3 months off,
But FMLA is not paid.
No, no, no.
I know it's not paid, but I'm saying it's 12 weeks. If you're gonna take, if we adopt this for 6 weeks and we pay them, and they also take FMLA,
But they would take it.
It runs concurrent.
oh, you can do it, so it's 6
Yeah,
weeks
it's
total,
concurrent.
not 6 and 6.
No.
Okay.
They can take off the 12 weeks, but they're gonna get paid for
Start having
6.
babies.
Yes.
All right. What's that?
I'm gonna start having babies.
I'm telling you, I get 3 weeks off, 3 months off.
The FMLA is really a job.
All FMLA says is that you can't fire mama when she has a baby
Right.
for 12 weeks. That's all it means. What we're saying is that we're going to pay the mom for up to 6 weeks, whatever the board decides, from 0 to 6 weeks or more. I'm just thinking that it's gonna have minimal financial impact on the city, and it will send the right message that we do value what we say we value.
And we have about 50 employees now, and I do know one that is gonna be a new mom, and she wanted to be here tonight, and she wanted to express that she would appreciate it if y'all would consider this.
All right, any questions, discussions, comments?
If we were to move forward on this, I mean, are we just gonna mirror what the state's doing?
So I
How
would have,
like the legal, how's that gonna look?
I would have Todd Butler create a policy for us, a standalone policy, probably similar to the New Orleans School District one that y'all saw today. And bring it back in April for y'all to formally adopt it. So basically, I just need approval for y'all that this is something y'all want to do, and give me direction to get with Todd and create a policy.
I'd make a motion to have our next meeting for 6 weeks.
6 weeks. Mr. Powell makes a motion to have a policy brought forth for 6 weeks. Mr. Taylor seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you, guys. I really know this will mean a lot to our employees. So.
All right, Mr. Dillon.
Good evening, everybody. Quick little update from P and Z. I finally got to have my first planning and zoning board meeting last week. January was canceled. We didn't have anything on the books, but got to meet all the board members, had a great interaction with them. We got a couple items to talk about tonight from that meeting. Since we didn't have a January meeting, December minutes are up here for y'all's consideration. Our next P and Z meeting will be March 24th, and it's shaping up to be a doozy. A lot of submissions in all the arenas, so this should be a good one. Architectural review, we've really been hard at it. We've had 3 different meetings since the beginning of February, mainly because the storm in Oxford and court dates messing up our city planner. But we finally sat down with him on the 5th, and we got through all the architectural standards. So we're locking those in. We're hoping to have one more special call meeting to go over architectural types and styles. And after that, we feel like we'll be able to bring it to the board for a work session and really get this locked in. And it's shaping up to be really cool. We're strengthening what we have now and getting much more detailed than what we have. And I think y'all will really appreciate what they've been building. So looking forward to that. The building department issued 15 permits last month, a little slower month, but totaling $3,041. That brings me to, we've got a couple items, 2 from Mount Pleasant Baptist Church. They're requesting approval for conditional use.
Mr. Dearman, let me interrupt you before we move on to 7B. Any questions of Mr. Dearman about his general update? All right.
I have
I'm
one.
sorry, Ms. Campbell, go ahead.
So I'm really pleased that the Architectural Review Board has, got the ball rolling on that. I know that we have mentioned a work session with the board, I think probably the last 3 or 4 meetings. Is there any way you can come to us next month with a date for a meeting?
That's my goal. So we've got one more special call next. Right now we're shooting for the 19th. And I'm hoping after that, we can set a work session shortly thereafter.
Okay.
Our last discussion is to actually go over actual types and styles. So we've gotten all the standards written in full detail, and we just will need to pick some styles and that sort of thing. So I'm really hoping one more time. And again, with the Oxford storm, we missed 2 meetings with our city planner, Chris Watson. So that's been some of the delay there, but I think one more meeting, we should be able to get with you guys and lock this in.
Okay, yeah, I would like to have a date for that, maybe at the next meeting that we can plan for.
Absolutely, absolutely.
All right, 8B, conditional use permit for Mount Pleasant Baptist Church.
Yeah, so Mount Pleasant Church, and they're here representing it today. They're requesting a conditional use to add a multi-life purpose building to their campus there. As you know, quasi-public facilities require a conditional use. We've gone through the architectural review and the P&Z. The P&Z approved and recommended the conditional use. And we can pull up, we got to go through site plan too. So if you want to go on down to that, show you what we got. There it is. So essentially they're adding to the west of the existing church. It's about a 9,100 square foot multi-purpose facility. They're going to use it as their voting precinct and a lot of other good things. And one thing, so with the architectural review, they're going to do a brick veneer around the entire building along the bottom. They're going to do a white stucco around it also. It's going to be a good looking building. One thing the P&Z recommended was to add some more landscaping up along the frontage, as well as a little more detail on their dumpster pad there. And the church has been great to work with. They've updated all my requests and the P&Z and the architectural review board, and we do recommend the approval of their site plan and the conditional use as well.
Okay. Let's talk about item 8B, the conditional use permit first. And I know you gentlemen are here from the church.
The pastor's here.
I can tell you, I don't have a crystal ball, but I think in about a minute, the board's going to approve both your requests. With that said, do y'all still want to get up here and talk, or you want them to vote?
I'll vote.
All right, item 8B, request for approval of the conditional use for Mount Pleasant Baptist Church. Is there a motion? Mr. Taylor made a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Bates seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, let's go to the site plan. Is there a motion to approve their site plan? Motion. Mr. Powell made a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Taylor seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Like I said, I didn't have a crystal ball, but I kind of knew where that was going. When I was a baby lawyer, Judge Graves, who's now on the Fifth Circuit, told me I was getting ready to argue a motion. He looked at me and he said, "Mr. Morrison, I'm prepared to grant your motion. You want to keep talking?" I said, "I think I'll sit down." So, there you go. Y'all did good. Congratulations. All right, item 8B, the site plan for BRH Assets Green Steel.
Yes, sir. This is the Green Steel Building. They've been an active business here in town for a while, and they're wanting to add a 13,500 square foot warehouse in the back of their property there. And with this addition, they've essentially got to be able to get their trucks to it. So they're adding a good bit of concrete and additional parking along with a lot of landscaping. And one of the comments from the architectural review was all this addition is really going to increase the looks of this property. They're adding parking over here on the far north side and landscaping up and down the frontage as well. So both boards recommended approval for it. The only thing they had wrong or was missing was that we needed one more handicap spot. And they've since added that, and we do recommend approval for this addition here.
All right, any questions of Mr. Dearman about the site plan for BRH Assets Green Steel? Is there a motion then to approve their site plan?
Motion to approve.
Mr. Taylor made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
I'll tell you what, Ms. Campbell seconded. She's on the board.
With the peach.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? You can't second and vote.
Oh, my bad.
I'm picking on you. All right, consideration of the Gluckstadt Office Park sign standards.
Yeah, so this is a neat little development over Old Jackson Road. They finished their first building. They're going to have a total, what is it, Christian, 5? Well, total 5 buildings. But they're ready to put the signs up on the first one, and with multiple buildings, we gotta have board approval for sign standards. They've submitted this, and we've looked at it, everything aligns with our code, and if you wanna pull up, they're gonna do something a little different, which I personally think looks pretty good. They're gonna do a black background, with white writing on all their buildings, and they're requesting approval of these sign standards.
Any questions or comments about 8E?
How different are they from surrounding buildings, sign line?
Well, they're all by themselves over there, so, but each of their buildings will be just like this.
I think the spirit of it is that building to building within the complex will be similar or the same.
Some commonality throughout the development, and all the buildings are white with that charcoal trim around it, and, but each of the buildings will have similar, and once we get the sign standards, each tenant has to submit a permit, and we check the sizes and all that good stuff for it too.
How big is that, if I know the sign has to go within ratio of the suite, how big is the suite one?
I'd have to verify that, but what's the footage on it?
They're going to vary slightly, so building to building, because with this suite currently that's depicted has 2 suites in it. The next building's gonna have, I think 3 with a warehouse, and the last one's gonna have 5.
But like I said, each individual tenant has to send us a permit as well as a dimension drawing. These are just the kind of basic standards. So once they give us that, we'll pull the measurements of the frontage of the space and all that good stuff.
And if I may, they're all gonna have this awning with the same space and support, so pretty well all gonna be the same size, suite to suite, regardless of the suite frontage, but it's all within the ordinance as far as that goes, so.
All right, any other questions, comments? Is there a motion then to approve the Gluckstadt Office Park sign standards?
Motion.
All right, Ms. Campbell made a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Williams seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Item 8F, site plan submission, removal of Venture South and Woolridge Associates.
That's correct. So, Venture South Construction or Woolridge Associates applied for the Hederman site submission back in October, and it was approved. But since that time,
This is what you want to withdraw.
yes,
You want to withdraw this and table it. There's been discussions between you, Mr. Woolridge, and also Hederman. All of them agreed.
Hederman's fine with it. They've actually resubmitted. They're gonna go through the process themselves. They've gone in different directions.
Okay.
And on behalf of Daniel and them, they would like to pull their submission from the approval.
So 8F is just taken off the table.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Dearman. Mr. Buckner. 9A.
Good evening, board. We had advertised for term bids, and we got quite a few submissions this year, or for this 6 months. But for FOB at the plant, where we would pick it up in our trucks, Superior Asphalt in Byron, Mississippi actually won that. Once again, these term bids are just to help us with purchasing. It helps us streamline the process. If we were to go pick up just 2 tons ourselves, we're going to Kent instead of going to Byron. It's a whole lot less gas, a whole lot less trouble that could happen. But if we were to have to go over $5,000 Superior, we have a term bid where we could do some larger projects. And then we also had work being done in the city. AdCamp won that bid. They are also our current term bid winner for current 6 months that we're in, so they won it in the summertime. They were requesting the board to approve these term bid tags.
All right, questions about the term bids? Is there a motion then to approve awarding these various term bids?
The motion, sir.
Mr. Powell made the motion. Is there a second? Second. Ms. Bates seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, 9B, approval of the Gluckstadt Road paving and striping.
All right, as the board is aware, we cut a 4-width, or we're not doing.
I hate to interrupt. Can he speak up a little bit louder?
Chris, speak up, please.
Sure. As the board's aware, we are not doing the original Gluckstadt Road widening project anymore. We hope to go back for a project in the future. We have to wait for an application process to start. In the meantime, we would like to use the state money that we got, the $750,000, to overlay a large portion of Gluckstadt Road. If we were to wait until the grant process gets through, we're looking 7, 8, 9 years down the road before we go to construction, much less paving. That's another 3 or 4 years. We're looking to use this money that we already have to overlay and rehab the condition of Gluckstadt Road from practically Tyndall and Red Oak to the city limits west, not counting the Bozeman Road intersection project, skip over that, to have new asphalt put on the roads. That is our section that has the most damage. We've done 2 or 3 dig outs in that spot. We think that will be money well spent going through there to prolong the life of that area of road. We could not go all the way to the interstate due to the cost that would be associated with that. The safety, that would, much like the Hemphill project that we did for the turn lane, the safety on that one added $100,000. This is 4 times as big. Safety codes, safety contractors, all that sort of stuff. It would have been an astronomical amount to do from Red Oak to the interstate. That's why we're asking just for this section.
Okay. Total project cost is $590,376.05. Any questions at all of Mr. Buckner about this proposed project? All right, is there a motion to approve this project?
Motion.
All right, Mr. Powell, I'm sorry, Mr. Taylor made the motion, Mr. Campbell seconded. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, 9C.
This is our standard plan details. We've been working with Robert Master on this for a good while now. What we tried to do with this is get our subdivision regulations put into kind of picture format to be able to attach into plans that building subdivisions, anybody that's trying to develop in the city would have to use. We have, so basically all this is our subdivision regulation text put down into 3 formats. One being erosion control, the next one would be standard details, and then the other one I think is our curb and gutters, storm drain systems. And we're asking the board to approve this so that we can start having the developers and developments attach these to their plans so that they're going off our standards, not just any random standard.
Any questions about these design standard plan sheets? All right, is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Mr. Taylor made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Campbell seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, 9D, Clarkdale Road culvert purchase and replacement.
We are looking to get board approval to purchase 2 80-foot strips of, I believe it's 2. Let me check, make sure. 80 feet of 48-inch pipe. On Clarkdale Road, there is a triple barrel culvert that goes underneath the road about midway down at the large creek behind Bear Creek. 2 of those have holes in the middle of the road and are creating quite the hole. We have filled those in quite a few times. The holes are very large. That needs to be dug up and replaced regardless of what the rest of the road looks like. We need to get that safety, as a safety hazard, we need to get that fixed. We are looking to purchase the culverts ourselves. We can get those cheaper than a contractor can through our term bid, which is why we only have the 1 quote for G&O to purchase it for $695.20. We got 2 quotes to get this installed. One from Lerton Banks for $13,724, and the other for Steve Chisholm LLC for $5,400. And we're recommending the board to go with Chisholm LLC.
So you want the board's approval to buy the pipe, $66.95.20?
Yes, sir.
And to retain Mr. Chisholm's company to do it at the cost of $5,400.
Yes, sir.
Didn't we just do work at Clarkdale?
I don't believe that.
I
I got permission
Yeah.
to close the road if we ever,
To do this project?
we'll have to close it to do this. What we were looking for was a permanent closure until we could get the road paved to get it rehabbed because it's in such bad shape. I put off doing it because I thought it got approved through the Madison County road funds. We're just waiting to get that done. We're keeping the road up as best we can.
Okay.
Grand scheme of things, if that neighborhood opens and it's still the same way it is, we're gonna try to do something drastic like close the road down. We can't afford that much traffic on that road.
Have we used, this company before, Steve Chisholm LLC?
Yes, ma'am, we've used them quite a few times. They did steps for the baby box for us. They did the PD concrete ditch out front, and they have done another culvert replacement for us in Germantown. Among a couple other smaller projects.
Have we used another company?
Electric Banks, we have, Electric Banks is the one that dug out Bear Creek along Buckstep Road and rehab that area right there.
That's a lot of money between the two quotes.
Yeah, that's what I was just looking at. This is a significant difference between the quotes. That's why I was curious if we, have used either one of them before.
Yes, we've used both of them.
Okay.
All right, is there a motion then to approve the purchase of the pipe and retaining Mr. Chisholm?
Motion.
Mr. Williams made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Campbell seconded. All in favor? Any
Aye.
opposed? Thank you, Mr. Buckner.
Thank you.
All right, we got an update from the police department. Mr. Slavin, welcome, sir.
The chief directed me on some things he wanted to make sure y'all are aware of what's going on. Last month, we issued 366 citations, worked a total of 21 accidents. We had 15 misdemeanor arrests, including 2 DUIs and 9 felony arrests. I wanted to specifically touch on one of those. Sergeant Montgomery made a traffic stop on I-55. During that traffic stop, he located a couple firearms in the possession of a juvenile. We took that juvenile into custody, confiscated the 2 firearms, and he was in the Yazoo County, the Yazoo County Detention Center. We were notified the next day by JPD of an incident that occurred in Jackson, and that subject was turned over to them for capital murder. We believe of the 2 weapons we recovered, we have the murder weapon and a weapon that was robbed from the victim at the time the murder occurred. JPD later picked up another occupant of that vehicle as an accessory to that capital murder. So it ended up being, we had a 17-year-old, and then the additional suspect was 18, who was taken into custody. That was worked by Sergeant Montgomery, and then Sergeant McCarty was also involved in it as well. We later determined that one of the firearms had been listed as stolen through some work that he did investigatively. So major props to him on that arrest. We also had the incident with the Germantown Middle School, where somebody made a phone call threat in. We had identified one of the juveniles that was responsible for that. They're located in Michigan. We have filed felony terroristic threat charges through juvenile court, and that whole case has been turned over to juvenile court to handle. We won't get much of an update on that due to the fact that it is juvie court and they don't really feed anything back to us. And we're not sure what's going to happen with it due to the fact that with them being in Michigan and extradition issues, but it'll be up to them to handle. But we did get cooperation from the authorities in Michigan on identifying that juvenile.
Did any relation with Madison Station?
Previously, a student in this area, at least one of the kids that was involved and moved up there and still had a family member in this area, but they were not. That's the only link that we can find. In relation to the building, you want to let everybody know, we had a flooding incident, water pipe burst in the men's bathroom in front of the building. It got to the courtroom between Officer Vinegar and a group from 911 Restoration that came out for free. They were able to dry it all up. We're currently looking at if we're going to have to do any kind of repairs and what that's going to cost from the water damage. We're also dealing with a leak from the roof again. This got into the evidence vault. They came out, I believe, today to look at repairing the sheetrock and found that the leak is still not fixed because it's still wet. So the roofing company is coming back to look at the leak again before we look at having the ceiling in there repaired.
How many times is this? 3?
That's
3.
Constant ongoing issue.
33.
Couple final things as far as interacting with the community and training. Officer Huff this week is at canine training. Today he got his national narcotics detector dog certification, and tomorrow he'll be doing another certification for USPCA. So he'll have multiple national recognitions for Bougie. Sergeant Montgomery will be going to get certified in standardized field sobriety training, and our dispatch supervisor will be doing advanced supervisor training in Pearl. Chief also hosted a group leadership in Madison County, where the chief of Camp Police Department, Madison Police Department came to RPD, had an ask and answer session where members of the community came in and got to talk to them. And we had presenters for the Germantown Middle and Madison Crossing career fairs. We wanted to know that we were out there interacting as much as possible.
Chris Bowler is also a nice crossing.
Got a good deal. Fly on the wall.
Any questions?
I was just wondering, have you asked your truck yet?
No.
No.
As of a couple days ago, it was on a train car in Kansas. And we don't know why.
Okay.
But we have 2 Explorers in the parking lot that we're working on getting outfitted, so we're making some headway.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, we need to go into executive session. So is there a motion to enter into closed session?
Motion.
Bates made the motion to go into closed section. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Taylor, seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I
All right, we're in closed session.